So I got to ask you this because you mentioned real estate. Me and Fresh are both in real estate, huge into real estate. And I know we had a discussion about this last time I was on your guys' podcast, and we had a discussion on real estate, that the whole real estate process is a bit different in the United Kingdom than it is to the United States. And I get a million questions for people. Hey, talk about real estate in the UK. Talk about real estate in the UK. You have some real estate there. Can you tell the people about maybe some fundamental differences that might be between the United States and United Kingdom?
Well, I'm not a real estate expert.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, I buy real estate. I buy both residential and commercial.
Okay.
Being in business, commercial property is actually a very, very good tax advantage because we can put it in a SIP, which is a self-administered pension, which is a great way of doing things.
Okay.
And the residential is bought in a different way as well. Our interest rates, I think, are somewhat better than yours. I think you're operating about 8% plus at the moment.
Yeah, right now 8 to 9%. Yep.
Yeah, we're about 5.5.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's not bad, is it?
What the fuck? I'm about to go to the United Kingdom, bro.
But hold on, there's got to be a downside to that, though. No?
Not really, no.
Do you guys get 30-year fixed loans or no?
No, we don't get that. You do get that in the States, which is quite nice. But do you want 30 years fixed at 8+%? Not really.
No. But you can refinance.
I was going to say you're going to be refinancing very quickly.
Yeah.
But we can get sort of, I would say, probably 5 years at that at the moment.
Oh, is it like an adjustable rate mortgage?
Yeah. It'll.
How much down do you need though? How much down?
Normally, first-time buyers. What are we talking, Curtis? Just because you're more in that market. 10. 20%, yeah. So 20%, yeah. But you can get help to buy as well. There's a help to buy scheme also available.
So even if you're going to live in it, you got to put 20% down?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There's a barrier to entry.
I knew it.
Because in America, you could do 3.5% down if it's going to be where you primary residence.
FHA loan, yeah.
And you got to live in it for a year, and then you put 3.5 to 5, and then you can leave. So I guess the barrier to get in is a little bit harder. But you can get and enjoy some better rates. But does that 5% interest rate last for like 5 years, 10 years, or do you sign different terms?
Generally, you can go about 5 years. You won't generally get a lot more than that on a low interest rate. Obviously, if you wanted to sign for 6%, for example, you'd probably get a 10-year. But to be honest, the interest rates aren't that high generally for that amount of time.
Do they ever go that high where like an adjustable rate would mess you up if you
the worst interest rate I've ever seen is 15%. It didn't last. It didn't last very long.
Okay.
It's when the UK dropped out the money control system of Europe, and it went through the roof for a bit, and it wasn't very long. So,
but is it consistently under 6%? It seems like.
I think the tops I'm paying on mortgages probably about 3.5% at the moment on my fixed.
Oh wow! Okay.
How many properties do you have?
I never disclose that.
Okay,
I understand.
Yeah.
What I do disclose what I earn. That's public knowledge on my YouTube videos. But I did say when we started the YouTube and the interviews and things like that, my wife asked me, said, "Don't disclose those sort of things." She likes that to be private, so I think that's fair enough.
I can agree on that.
Yeah,
I like it private.
Yeah, I'm transparent about it, but no, I can definitely, I can see where that would make sense. And then in the United States, we have like, open laws with like searching shit. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Depending on how you incorporate your business, whatever it may be. So you said commercial and residential in the UK. What in the US we go from 1 to 4 is residential. Is that the same in the UK?
I don't think so. I mean, one of the things you have got in the States, which I think is quite nice, is the buying of duplexes.
Yes,
multifamily.
Yeah, multifamily.
You can buy like up to 4,
and it's residential.
But it's classed as one.
Building. So like you could buy a single family home, a duplex, or a triplex, or a fourplex, and that all counts as residential.
Yeah.
But anything above 4 units is considered commercial.
Yeah. Well, I think in the UK, if you buy a house, literally another house is another house, even if it's joined up.
Oh.
So you can't do quite the same sort of thing, which is.
So even if it's the same structure, you're taking 2 mortgages on each unit.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a street. I mean, we have in some of the towns that Sittingbourne, where we're based as a business, there's quite a lot of what are called terraced houses, and that'd be like 20 houses all in a row. Really, it's one building, all divided up, but each one you would buy as an individual house. You can't do the same sort of thing, unfortunately.
Yeah, my brother's in the UK, and my property over there, I checked it out, bro. It's hell,
hard,
bro. Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly speaking, like,
so they have more. So see, there's checks and balances. So like they have more favorable rates, but you have a higher barrier to enter to be able to acquire the property because you got to put 20% down. But it seems to me once you actually have it, because 20% is quite a bit of equity, you're probably going to cash flow very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the same rules sort of apply. I mean, you're looking for 1% a month on your purchase price as a rental, if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, you're probably looking at about just a little less than that, probably about 10%. You can pretty much get that on a year. So that's quite good. But obviously, after 3, 4, 5 years, then obviously the rent increase gives you substantially more than that. And I think a lot of people look at what they can rent it for right now
versus the long term.
Versus the long term. And I think a lot of people struggle with long term nowadays. I think, well, long term, well, that's 90 seconds of TikTok rather than 30 seconds, isn't it? That's long term. Whereas long term, realistically, you've got to have a plan. If you have a plan over a number of years and stick with it, because you know, on real estate, I don't know what it is in the US, but generally speaking, in the UK, you can almost double a property value in 10 years. Almost, probably 11.
I was going to ask you that next is rent very expensive in the UK, depending on where it is? I know London isn't cheap. And are you able, because it seemed to me like you said you can raise the rents every 2 to 3 years, which I mean is pretty good. But is the market to enter very expensive? Like to get a single family home is like $1 million?
No, it's not as much as that. No, I mean, I think the average UK home is about and I'm guessing a little bit of this at the moment, probably about £370. So probably about $450.
$450.
Around that sort of area. That would be for a 3-bedroom, what we call a semi-detached. So what you might call a 2 duplex. But obviously you only own one side.
You own one side.
Do you have any other investments other than real estate and index funds? Any other investments?
Well, obviously the crypto. I do dabble a little bit in stocks still because, you know, it's fun, isn't it? You know, and I do like checking up on them from time to time, you know, so I do dabble, although I don't like to push that side of it. I do dabble a little bit. Yeah. And I have a couple of little bits of money in. I suppose it'd be called angel investing as well, but it's not really that yet. But I think it's going to become that.
Can you tell us what stocks you're into?
I was going to say, if you could
I
share,
know it's a secret,
if you could share one with the audience, that'd be great.
Well,
but if you can, it's cool.
Everyone's got Tesla, haven't they?
Okay.
There you go. I've got Tesla.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
And a few others.
Yeah, because Tesla, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a push in the U.S. government to go fully electric?
Green. Yeah.
And in the UK as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that in the UK they're doing that too.
So I have a friend, Kevin Tobias. He sold his Tesla stock and made millions. But I think holding on to it might be even better because they're going full electric.
Wow.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So individual stocks, index funds. You said you have emerging funds, market index, and then I'm assuming also you probably have a S&P 500 one and the total market index. Anything else that you do?
No, that's pretty much the set. To be perfectly honest with you, it's a safe sort of. It's a safe.
What's the emerging
bet.
funds one, man? I'm about to go in there. What's do you remember the code for
I won't
Vanguard?
remember the code, but we'll look it up once we finish.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna start putting money in there.
So